HBO has released the official teaser for its upcoming half-hour original drama series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. The 6-episode season is an adaptation of George R.R. Martin's popular Tales of Dunk and Egg novellas and premieres Sunday, January 18th at 10 p.m. EST on HBO, with streaming available on Max. The series is co-created by George R.R. Martin and Ira Parker. Interestingly, the plot of Martin's first novella, The Hedge Knight, shares some striking similarities with the movie A Knight's Tale starring Heath Ledger, which actually came out a few years after Martin's story was first published in Legends. Now, I love that movie, and if you do too, I have a full costume analysis on it that you can check out after this video. 2026 is shaping up to be an exciting year for fans of Westeros, with both A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and House of the Dragon airing in the same year. I'll be covering the costumes from both series extensively. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms features work by Irish costume designer Lorna Marie Mugan, while Caroline McCall will return as series costume designer for House of the Dragon Season 3. In this video, I'll be sharing my initial thoughts on the costumes based on the teaser and the stills released by HBO, along with some book comparisons and callbacks to Game of Thrones. Now, I'm new to the Dunk and Egg stories myself, so bear with me if I miss a few details along the way. The first part of this reaction includes only mild spoilers, but later on I'll get into some book spoilers, and I'll give you a clear heads up before that happens. And before we dive in, I just want to take a moment to thank my Patreon supporters. If you've been watching for a while, you know I rarely feature sponsored content, and I try to keep YouTube ads to a minimum so that you can enjoy a smoother viewing experience. But by joining my Patreon community, you're helping to keep this channel going. Now, let's get into the review. The first thing I noticed in both the still images and the teaser trailer is that everything looks a bit brighter, at least at the start of the trailer. That could be due to the overall tone of the show. It feels a little more lighthearted and human-centered, a grounded story without dragons. It's refreshing to see that, especially in the daytime exterior shots. The world looks less muddy, and because of that, the costumes really pop. The small folk, for instance, are still dressed in homespun fabrics and natural dyes you'd expect from a pre-industrial world, but the colors look truer and richer than what we've seen before. The more naturalistic lighting and reduced desaturation make a huge difference compared to Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. I think that fans of the books will appreciate the balance. While there are some changes from the text, the spirit and the tone feel true to Martin's world. Even though the story takes place about 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones, it still feels grounded in the same version of Westeros, with realism, grit, and a focus on intimate, character-driven storytelling. Unlike the previous two shows, this one centers on Sir Duncan the Tall, or Dunk, who was raised in Flea Bottom and became the squire to a hedge knight named Sir Arlen of Pennytree. Dunk's clothing clearly reflects his humble origins. From what we see in the teaser, which likely spans much of the first season, he appears to have just two main outfits: his traveling ensemble, a linen shirt, trousers, and a hooded cloak, and his tourney armor. His travel clothes are well worn and repaired, with visible darns and patches showing his life on the road. His belt is particularly interesting. It looks like it's made of woven jute or hemp rather than leather, subtly underscoring his lower-born status. His boots do appear to be leather or suede, and at times he adds a quilted vest for warmth or protection. We also see Steely Pate just slightly, a blacksmith from the Reach, who sells Dunk new armor at the Ashford Meadow tourney. In the books, Pate is proud of his steel, plain looking but strong, and that's exactly what we see here. Dunk's armor is smooth, unadorned steel without the embellishments or sigils you'd see on knights from noble houses. There's a nice moment in the teaser where Pate is helping Dunk don his armor. Over a padded gambeson, he wears a riveted mail hauberk, followed by a tabard bound in leather, a steel gorget, gauntlets and greaves, and finally a closed-face helm. I'm not entirely certain, but I believe Dunk's greatsword may have belonged to Sir Arlen of Pennytree. His oak shield, however, almost certainly did. It's described in the book as bearing Sir Arlan's coat of arms, a winged chalice, silver on brown. Then there's Egg, a boy of about 10 who's eager to become Dunk's squire. In the books, he's described as pale, skinny, and bald, which makes his eyes look even bigger. His costume reflects that youthful awkwardness. He's practically swimming in his clothes. He wears a mustard-colored tunic made of rough cloth with a hooded cloak over top. The mustard tone contrasts nicely with Dunk's blue-gray palette, emphasizing their difference in stature. We also get a glimpse of Tansel, a Dornish puppeteer described in the books as tall and slim with black hair and olive skin. Now, while it's hard to make out the details in the teaser, her costume appears more exotic, standing apart from the other small folk in the Reach. She wears dangling earrings and a chunky necklace, adding texture and cultural depth to her look. There's also a man in a studded black leather doublet, who I believe may be Plumber, the master of games at the tourney. And we also catch a brief shot of Targaryen soldiers carrying banners, reminiscent of those in House of the Dragon, a nice bit of continuity. Before we move on, another quick thank you to my patrons. Your support makes these deep dives possible. If you'd like to join and get access to bonus content, sneak peeks, and updates, the link is in the description below. Now, let's look at two characters I'm especially excited to see. Prince Aerion Brightflame Targaryen, the second son of King Maekar I, and Sir Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing-Storm and heir to House Baratheon. Let's first start with Aerion, played by Finn Bennett, who you might recognize from True Detective Night Country, where he gave a fantastic performance as Officer P. Pryor. In the books, Aerion is described as having curly silver gold hair, deep violet eyes, and pale, unblemished skin. His features are sculpted and imperious, a high brow, sharp cheekbones, and a straight nose. Now, we all know Targaryen wigs have been a hot topic in House of the Dragon. So this time, the hair department took a different approach. Instead of a wig, it appears they dyed Finn's natural hair and eyebrows white, giving him a sharp, otherworldly look that actually kind of reminds me of Timothy Olyphant's character Kirsch from Alien Earth, who, interestingly, was inspired by Rutger Hauer's iconic Blade Runner aesthetic. And from what I can tell, Aerion has two main looks in the teaser, his traveling attire and his tourney armor. His first look is a departure from the books, where he wore clothing as bright as fire, reds, yellows, and golds, with a black cloak bordered in scarlet satin. One of his doublets was even made of red velvet with long dag sleeves. Now, as a side note, I don't think we've ever seen dag sleeves in any A Song of Ice and Fire adaptation, which is a shame because there's such a fun and theatrical medieval detail. In the teaser, though, Aerion's black cloak stands out. It's lined in red, fastened with silver clasps, and features a motif resembling lightning bolts or cracks. However, it is possible that it's a blood vessel detail similar to the one on Rhaenyra Targaryen's red gown and cloak worn in House of the Dragon Season 2. Underneath that, he wears a Mehl shirt and black trousers. Now, my one small quibble, his forearms are bare and he's not wearing gauntlets. I think a doublet or gambeson worn under the mail would have made the look more complete and historically grounded. Now, his tourney armor, that's going to be the real showstopper. In the book, Aerion wore a surcoat woven with smoke and fire, and his black helm featured a crest of red enamel flames. Now, we rarely see surcoats in these shows, so instead, they've opted for a painted black scale armor, perhaps inspired by Prince Daemon Targaryen's armor from House of the Dragon. And that's not surprising since Simon Brindle, who led much of the armor work on Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, returns as costume effects supervisor here. His influence shows in the craftsmanship. Aerion's helm closely matches the book description with its red enamel flame crest, a perfect nod to his bright flame name. I'm really curious to see how his armor holds up on screen. One thing that pulled me out of House of the Dragon at times was how Matt Smith's armor and helm materials bent during action scenes. Next up is Sir Lionel Baratheon, played by Daniel Inks. Now, I wasn't familiar with his work until I saw him in The Gentleman, which was amazing. And from the teaser alone, he looks fantastic. I can't wait to see more. Like Dunk and Aerion, Lionel has two primary looks. The first is his noble costume, done in classic Baratheon black and gold. His black tunic, worn beneath a gold brocade cloak, features a Japanese-style collar similar to the one worn by Robert Baratheon in Game of Thrones. On his head, he wears a gold circlet with stag antlers, a detail mirrored later when Dunk wears a similar style of crown. According to the books, Lionel wore a cloth of gold surcoat bearing the crowned stag of his house during tourneys. As mentioned earlier, surcoats are rarely used in the shows, so instead the armor team opted for ornate bronze and silver plate armor with a painted breastplate featuring the Baratheon stag. Underneath, he appears to wear a golden yellow gambeson, tying into the Baratheon color palette. Later in the teaser, Lionel dons a closed helm adorned with stag antlers, a visual callback to Renly Baratheon's stag crown, albeit smaller, that connects the earlier Baratheons to their later descendants in subtle, satisfying ways. All right, we've reached the book spoilers section. As I mentioned earlier, the teaser lays out many of the key points from the novella almost in order. We get several quick glimpses of the Trial of Seven, a form of trial by combat featuring Dunk and his 6 allies. From what I can tell, we can clearly spot Sir Humphrey Harding of House Harding and Sir Lionel Baratheon among Dunk's champions. House Harding's sigil is a field of red and white diamonds, and you can pick him out by his shield and armor colors. Earlier in the teaser, it even looks like he's jousting against Sir Humphrey Beesbury, who wears yellow and black stripes and a shield with 3 beehives, just as described in the book. Because the trial sequence is shrouded in mist, it's hard to make out all the details, but I'm hoping we'll see more in future trailers. Hopefully HBO will release official stills soon so we can take a closer look at the armor work and design details. I'm also really looking forward to seeing the other Targaryens, Princess Maekar, Darren, and Baelor, as well as the Kingsguard. Let me know in the comments what you think of the costumes so far, and if you caught any details I might have missed. Stay tuned for more coverage as we get closer to the premiere. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I'll see you in the next video.